Admiral Minho stood on the command deck of his flagship, watching the stars shift around him. His massive war fleet just dropped out of hyperspace near a small blue planet. 500 Carvani warships floated in space, their weapons charged and ready. This was supposed to be easy. Another primitive world to add to the empire. "Captain Gina, what do our scanners show?" Minho asked his second-in-command. She was looking at the data streams flowing across her screen. "The third planet is called Earth, Admiral. Their technology appears very basic. We're detecting radio waves, mostly broadcasts about entertainment and food. No sign of military defenses." Lieutenant Juan, the ship's technical officer, added, "They're still using chemical rockets, sir. Their fastest ships would take years to reach their own moon. This should be simple." Minho smiled confidently. In his 20 years of conquest, he had never encountered a planet that could resist the Carvani fleet. Earth would surrender within hours, just like all the others. Deep below Earth's surface in a hidden military complex, Commander Day watched the alien fleet appear on his screens. He had been waiting for this day his entire life. Around him, dozens of officers sat at control stations, monitoring every movement of the enemy ships. "Alert all defense stations," Day ordered calmly. "Activate silent protocols, let them think we're still sleeping." Lieutenant Yuna, his communications officer, worked quickly. "Message sent to all hidden facilities, sir. They're going dark as planned." Across the solar system, hundreds of secret military installations received the signal. On the moon, inside hollow asteroids, and on stations hidden in the asteroid belt, weapons powered up silently. Advanced technology that the Carvani had never seen before came online. On Mars, General Tay coordinated with his team. "Remember, we need to look weak when we're strong," he reminded his officers. Major Ari and Colonel Shin checked their systems. "One final time. All orbital defense platforms are ready, sir," Ari reported. "They're completely hidden from enemy scanners." "Good," Tay replied. "Let them think our space program is still in its infancy." Back in space, Admiral Minho prepared to make contact. "Open a channel," he commanded. Captain Gina activated the communication system. "Channel open, Admiral." Minho cleared his throat and began the standard conquest speech he had given so many times before. "Primitive inhabitants of the third planet. This is Admiral Minho of the Carvani Empire. You have been chosen to join our domain. Surrender now, and your people will be spared. Resist, and face destruction." The message traveled at light speed, toward Earth. In the hidden command center, Vice Admiral Sora heard the ultimatum through advanced translators. She already knew the Carvani language perfectly. Earth had been studying their transmissions for decades. "Shall I respond, Commander?" Taishi asked. Dee nodded. "Begin the performance." Admiral Sora activated the transmitter and, to the surprise of the Carvani, responded in perfect Carvani language. "Welcome to our solar system, Great Admiral. We have been expecting your arrival. Please allow us to prepare a proper reception for such distinguished visitors." On the Carvani flagship, Lieutenant Quan nearly fell from his chair. "Admiral, they're speaking our language." Minho frowned. This had never happened before. Primitive species didn't speak Carvani. "How is this possible?" he asked. Captain Gina checked her instruments again. "According to our data, they shouldn't have translation technology this advanced." Meanwhile, on Earth, Fleet Admiral Minjun watched the entire exchange from a secret facility buried deep beneath a mountain. His years of planning were finally being put to the test. "Phase 1 complete," he announced to his staff. "Now we wait for them to make their mistake." Captain Hana, monitoring the situation from the Lunar Command Center, confirmed all systems were ready. Earth's true military might remain hidden behind holographic projections and electronic countermeasures. "Sir," she reported, "the enemy is positioning for what appears to be a demonstration of force. Shall we maintain the illusion?" "Yes," Minjun replied. "Let them show us what they think is overwhelming power." Back on the Carvani flagship, Lieutenant Myung detected some unusual energy readings. "Admiral, I'm picking up strange fluctuations from the asteroid belt." "Probably natural phenomena," Minho dismissed. These primitive systems often have unusual electromagnetic activity. But Commander Kyung, the fleet's deep space specialist, wasn't convinced. Years of experience had taught him to trust his instincts. "Sir, those readings don't match our database of natural phenomena." "Enough," Minho decided. "We'll proceed with a standard demonstration. Fire a warning shot at one of their satellites, let them see what real weapons can do." As the order went out across the Carvani fleet, no one noticed the subtle changes in energy signatures throughout the solar system. Earth's true defenses were coming online, carefully hidden behind technology far beyond anything the Carvani had encountered before. The trap was set, and the hunters were about to become the hunted. Admiral Minho gestured to his weapons officer. "Lieutenant Huan, target that communication satellite orbiting their planet. Fire a warning shot." Huan programmed the targeting system with practiced ease. "Locked on, Admiral. Energy beam ready. Fire." A brilliant beam of energy shot from the Carvani flagship toward Earth's satellite. The crew watched their screens, expecting to see the satellite destroyed in a spectacular explosion. Instead, something impossible happened. The satellite's surface shimmered with a blue energy field, absorbing the entire attack. Not only did it survive, it immediately returned fire with a precise counterbeam that struck the Carvani ship's hull. "Shield impact," Captain Gina shouted. "Minimal damage, but, Admiral, that satellite just shot back." Lieutenant Myung stared at his console in disbelief. "Those readings can't be right. That satellite is using trillium-based defense technology. That's more advanced than our own shields. On Earth, in the Deep Mountain Command Center, Commander..." Day allowed himself a small smile. "They've taken the bait. Time for the next phase." Vice Admiral Sora opened another communication channel. "Admiral Minho," she said calmly, "we understand you wanted to demonstrate your weapons. We hope you found our demonstration equally informative. Perhaps we should discuss terms more peacefully." Aboard the Carvani flagship, the bridge fell silent. The primitive humans had just used technology that shouldn't exist. "Admiral," Lieutenant Kwan said quietly, "they're still speaking perfect Carvani. And that shield technology..." Minho's mind raced. In 43 successful conquests, nothing like this had ever happened. "Captain Gina, scan their entire planet. I want to know what we're really dealing with." Gina worked her console frantically. "Sir, our deep scans are being blocked. They're using some kind of interference that's scrambling our sensors." On the far side of the moon, Captain Hana monitored the Carvani's scanning attempts. "They're trying to penetrate our countermeasures," she reported to General Tay. "Let them see what we want them to see," Tay replied. "Activate the decoy installations." Suddenly, the Carvani scanners detected dozens of military bases across Earth's surface, all fake projections designed to confuse the enemy. But they also detected something real. Massive energy signatures coming from the asteroid belt. "Admiral," Commander Kyung called out urgently. "Multiple contacts throughout the asteroid field. These aren't natural formations." Lieutenant Young, monitoring tactical systems, added, "Sir, I'm reading weapons platforms in at least 30 asteroids. They're powering up." Back on Earth, Major Ari worked at her station. All asteroid defense platforms active and targeting the enemy fleet. Colonel Shin verified the readings. Confirmed. Every hidden installation is online and ready. Fleet Admiral Minjun watched the tactical display from his secure command post. "The Carvani are starting to realize they've made a serious mistake. Admiral," Sora maintained the diplomatic facade. "Admiral Minho, we've prepared orbital docking facilities for your fleet. Surely we can discuss this situation without further conflict." But Minho was no longer listening to diplomatic words. His tactical mind was analyzing a completely unexpected situation. "How many bases did you count, Lieutenant?" "Over 200, sir. And those are just the ones we can detect. Their masking technology is incredible." Captain Gina ran another scan. "Admiral, their technology appears to be several generations ahead of ours. This isn't a primitive civilization." "Lieutenant," Juan's hands trembled slightly as he worked his console. "Sir, I'm detecting antimatter signatures. They have antimatter weapons." The bridge of the Carvani flagship erupted in concerned whispers. Antimatter weapons were theoretical even for the advanced Carvani Empire. "Maintain course," Minho ordered, trying to sound confident. "They're trying to intimidate us with holograms and sensor ghosts." But Lieutenant Myung shook his head. "No, sir. These readings are real. The energy outputs are genuine." On Earth, President Ari monitored the situation from her office. "How are they responding to our revelations?" Her military advisor, General Yao Te, replied through a secure channel. "They're confused and starting to doubt themselves. Our plan is working perfectly." In space, more surprises awaited the Carvani. Commander Kyung detected movement in areas that should have been empty space. "Admiral, something's happening near our perimeter ships." The perimeter ships suddenly reported their own alarms. Ships that looked like human construction but impossibly advanced were appearing from nowhere, surrounding the Carvani formation. Admiral Sora's voice came across all Carvani channels once more. "Admiral Minho, we prefer peaceful solutions, but if you insist on testing our defenses, you'll discover we've had many years to prepare for visitors like yourselves." Minho stared at the tactical display, watching as Earth's true military strength revealed itself piece by piece. His fleet of 500 ships, which had dominated every previous encounter, suddenly seemed very small and outdated. "Captain Gina," he said slowly, "I believe we've seriously underestimated these humans." Admiral Minho tried to maintain control of the situation. "Captain Gina, order all ships to battle stations. These humans are playing games with us." Gina hesitated before giving the command. "Sir, perhaps we should consider—" "No," Minho interrupted firmly. "We've conquered 43 worlds. We will not be deterred by primitive tricks." Lieutenant Huan looked worried as he prepared the weapon systems. "Admiral, those energy readings from the asteroids are probably just mining equipment," Minho finished. "These humans are clever, I'll give them that, but clever doesn't win wars." On the asteroid mining station Series 7, Captain Hana smiled, as she watched the Carvani fleet maintain their aggressive posture. "They still don't understand," she told her crew. "Begin targeting sequence." Back on the Carvani flagship, Lieutenant Myung's console started beeping rapidly. "Sir, I'm reading massive energy spikes throughout the asteroid belt. Power levels are off the scale." "Ignore it," Minho ordered. "Focus on the primary target, Earth itself." But Commander Kyung, the deep space specialist, couldn't ignore his readings. "Admiral, these asteroids aren't just mining stations. The power signatures match our most advanced warship reactors." In Earth's command center, Commander Day watched the tactical display with satisfaction. "They're about to learn why you should never judge a book by its cover." General Tay stood beside him. "Should we reveal more of our capabilities?" "Not yet," Day replied. "Let them commit to their course of action first." Lieutenant Yuna opened a new communication channel. "This is Earth Central Command. Admiral Minho, you have 30 seconds to power down your weapons and prepare for negotiations." Minho laughed harshly. "Or what? You'll throw rocks at us?" Vice Admiral Sora's voice carried a warning tone. "We strongly advise you reconsider, Admiral." "I've heard enough threats," Minho declared. "All ships prepare for full assault. Target their cities." The moment those words left his mouth, everything changed. Lieutenant Huan watched in horror as warning lights exploded across his console. "Admiral, all our weapon systems are being locked out." "What?" Minho spun around. "Something's taken control of our targeting computers," Gina confirmed. "We can't lock onto anything." Commander Kyung's deep scan suddenly revealed the impossible. "Sir, those asteroids aren't asteroids anymore, they're transforming." On Series 7, Major Ari initiated the final phase. "Deploy offensive configuration." Across the asteroid belt, hundreds of mining stations began reshaping themselves. Hidden panels opened, revealing weapon arrays that dwarfed anything on the Carvani ships. Mining lasers converted into antimatter cannons. Processing facilities extended as massive shield generators. Lieutenant Mayung stared at his screens. "Admiral, the asteroids, they're all weapon platforms, massive ones." "That's impossible," Minho whispered. but the evidence was undeniable. Every asteroid in sight was transforming into a heavily armed battle station, bristling with technology far beyond Carvani understanding. Captain Gina ran emergency scans. "Sir, our tactical analysis shows those aren't even their primary defenses. We're surrounded by camouflaged warships." As if to prove her point, space itself seemed to ripple around the Carvani fleet. Ships materialized from nowhere, sleek and elegant, their hulls gleaming with advanced armor. Human vessels, dozens of them, had been hiding in plain sight using technology the Empire didn't possess. "Cloaking devices," Lieutenant Kwan breathed. "But our intelligence said they barely had rockets." Admiral Sora's voice filled the Carvani bridge again. "Admiral Minho, this is your final warning. Stand down immediately." Minho's mind reeled. Everything they knew about Earth was wrong. "How long have you had this technology?" "Long enough," came Sora's reply. "Your Empire's scouts passed through our outer systems decades ago. We've been preparing for your eventual arrival." Fleet Admiral Minjun authorized the next revelation from his command bunker. "Show them our fleet strength." Throughout the solar system, more ships decloaked. Attack cruisers hiding in planetary shadows, battleships positioned at Lagrange points, carriers concealed within artificial asteroid fields. The Carvani fleet of 500 ships suddenly found themselves outnumbered, 3-1. "Sir," Lieutenant Young reported with a shaking voice, "they have us completely surrounded. Every escape route is blocked." Colonel Shin monitored the situation from Mars base. "Enemy fleet is trapped. All tactical advantages eliminated." President Ari watched from Earth. "Admiral Minho has two choices now: surrender or destruction." On the Carvani flagship, reality finally sank in. Minho looked at his officers, seeing his own shock reflected in their faces. "Admiral," Captain Gina said quietly, "we never had a chance." For the first time in his career, Admiral Minho realized he had led his fleet into a trap prepared by a civilization he had fatally underestimated. Admiral Minho watched his screens in disbelief. His massive invasion fleet was trapped in a cage of human technology. "All ships, evasive maneuvers, prepare for immediate retreat." But as the Carvani ships tried to move, something strange happened. Instead of the violent destruction Minho expected, the human weapons fired precisely controlled bursts. Lieutenant Huan stared at his console. "Admiral, they're not destroying our ships. They're disabling them surgically." Each Carvani vessel shuddered as carefully aimed energy beams hit specific points on their hulls. Weapon systems, engines, and communication arrays were knocked offline one by one, but life support remained untouched. "Incredible precision," Captain Gina murmured. "They could destroy us completely, but they're choosing not to." "On Earth, General," Tay coordinated the operation. "Remember our objective. Disable. Don't destroy. We want prisoners, not corpses." Major Ari worked her station expertly. "Target engine rooms only. No harm to crew quarters or life support." Space filled with the blue glow of human weapons, each shot perfectly calculated. Within minutes, half the Carvani fleet drifted helplessly, powerless but intact. Lieutenant Myung tried to restart backup systems. "Nothing responds, Admiral. They've shut everything down." Admiral Sora's voice broadcast across all disabled ships. "Carvani forces, you are defeated. Prepare for boarding. You will be treated according to the laws of war." Minho gritted his teeth. "Battle to the last. No surrender." But then Lieutenant Young made a discovery. "Sir, they're not just disabling our ships from outside. Something's inside our computer systems." Human boarding parties began materializing throughout the Carvani fleet. Not through traditional airlocks or cutting through hulls. They appeared directly on bridges and in corridors, using technology the Carvani couldn't comprehend. Captain Sang led the team boarding Minho's flagship. His soldiers moved with precise coordination, stunning Carvani crew members with non-lethal weapons. No shots were fired in anger. No lives were lost. "Control bridge secure," Sang reported. "Admiral Minho and his command staff captured." Across the fleet, the same scene played out. Carvani officers found themselves surrounded by human soldiers. who moved like shadows and struck with surgical precision. Commander Kyung, surrounded in his own station, looked at the human soldiers in amazement. "How did you get here? Our sensors detected nothing." The human squad leader smiled. "You assumed we followed the same technology path as your empire. That was your mistake. In less than 2 hours, the entire Carvani invasion force was captured. Not a single human casualty. Not a single Carvani death." Admiral Minho sat in his own command chair, now wearing restraints. General Bora stood before him, wearing the insignia of Earth's Unified Defense Command. "You could have destroyed us," Minho said bitterly. "Why didn't you?" Bora's expression was surprisingly gentle. "Because we're not conquerors, Admiral. Your scouts were the first aliens we ever detected. We could have announced ourselves, started a dialogue. Instead, we chose to watch and learn." Lieutenant Kwan, also restrained, asked, "How long have you known about us?" 37 years, Bora replied. "We intercepted your long-range communications. We learned your language, we studied your technology, and we prepared." Captain Hana appeared on the bridge. "All Carvani ships secured, General. Medical team standing by for any injured prisoners." Admiral Sora joined them via hologram. "Admiral Minho, your fleet will remain here while we contact your empire. We want peace, not war. Your attack has failed, but you're all still alive. Your crew will be treated well." Lieutenant Huan looked up from his disabled station. "Our empire will come for us. We hope they do," Bora replied calmly. "So we can talk face to face. Real diplomacy, not conquest." Minho stared at the humans around him. Warriors who had defeated his entire fleet without killing anyone. Technology that surpassed his own by generations. Mercy when they could have shown ruthless destruction. "You've been hiding all this," he said slowly, pretending to be primitive. Sora nodded. "We learned from your transmissions that your empire respects only strength, so we showed you ours. But strength doesn't require cruelty, Admiral." Captain Gina, sitting beside her captured admiral, spoke up. "Your weapons, your ships, even your tactics. Nothing we've seen today exists in our empire's knowledge base." "That's because you've been looking in the wrong direction," Bora explained. "While your empire conquered primitive worlds, we developed in isolation. We took a different path." As the last of the Carvani crew were secured, Fleet Admiral Minjin broadcast to all ships, "Operation Peaceful Thunder is complete. All enemy forces neutralized with 0 casualties on either side. Well done, everyone." Admiral Minho realized the truth that his empire would soon face. Earth hadn't just defended itself. It had revolutionized the art of warfare itself. A war without death, conquest without destruction. 3 months later, Admiral Minho sat in a comfortable room on Earth, looking out at a city he never expected to see. Buildings stretched toward the sky, vehicles moved without visible propulsion, and the people walked freely without any sign of military presence. Ambassador Rena entered the room carrying a tray with tea. She had been Minho's daily contact since his capture, though he still struggled to understand her role. "Good morning, Admiral," she said warmly. "I hope you slept well." "How can you be so kind to someone who came to destroy your world?" Minho asked, genuinely puzzled. Rena sat across from him. "Because you didn't know the truth. Your empire bases its actions on incomplete information. That's not personal hatred. It's just policy." The door opened and Director Kija entered, carrying a datapad. He had visited before, each time revealing more shocking truths about Earth's real capabilities. "I brought more information you might find interesting," Kija said, activating the device. Holographic displays filled the air between them. Star charts, technical schematics, and historical records appeared in 3-dimensional detail. "This is Earth's real history," Kija explained. "We've been traveling between stars for 112 years. Our first expeditions reached the edges of your empire's territory 85 years ago." Minho stared at the information. "But how? Your radio signals were deliberately kept at primitive levels." Rena finished. "We needed time to understand what we were facing. Your empire's reputation for conquest preceded you. Captain Gina entered the room, now wearing civilian clothes. She had chosen to stay on Earth to learn rather than return with the captured fleet. "I've seen their manufacturing planets," she told Minho. "They build entire starships inside asteroids. Their factories operate at quantum levels, assembling materials atom by atom." Kaija activated another hologram. "This is our defensive system, the one that stopped your fleet. It extends throughout the solar system and beyond." The display showed an intricate network of hidden platforms, cloaked ships, and defensive arrays that made the Carvani Empire's military look simple by comparison. "We had quantum computers running battle simulations for decades," Kaija continued. "Your attack today was scenario number 847. We knew exactly how your fleet would approach and where every ship would position itself." President Ari entered the Ainasa room, her presence commanding but not threatening. "Admiral Minho, we want you to understand something important. Your empire isn't evil, but it is limited by its perspective." She gestured to another holographic display. "Your scouts never detected us because they weren't looking for what we actually are. They searched for primitive radio waves and chemical rockets. They found exactly what we wanted them to find." Lieutenant Myung, who had also stayed to learn, spoke up. "Your stealth technology alone exceeds anything we've ever imagined. How did you develop such advanced systems so quickly?" "Necessity and different thinking," Kaija answered. "Your empire conquered worlds through force. We developed through careful observation and adaptation. Every species you conquered, we learned from. Every technology you used, we improved upon." Ambassador Rena poured more tea. "When your first scouts approached our outer system, we faced a choice: reveal ourselves and risk war, or prepare in secret. We chose preparation," President Ari added. 37 years of preparation." The door opened again, and Admiral Sora entered in casual clothing. The tactical genius who had orchestrated Earth's bloodless victory looked remarkably ordinary out of uniform. "Admiral Minho," she said, sitting down, "your fleet is ready to return home. All ships have been repaired and upgraded. No weapons removed, no tracking devices installed." Minho looked surprised. "You're letting us go? Just like that?" "Not just letting you go," Sora replied. "We're sending you back with gifts, new defensive technologies, more efficient engines, medical advances that will save thousands of lives in your empire." Captain Gina pulled out her own data pad. "I've been working with their scientists. The knowledge they're sharing, it could advance our empire by centuries." Kaija stood up. "Admiral, we want your empire to evolve beyond conquest. These gifts are an invitation to a better path." President Ari addressed him directly. "Your empire has taken resources from primitive worlds. But imagine if those worlds could offer knowledge instead. Imagine if conquest became cooperation." The room fell silent as Minho processed this unprecedented situation. An enemy defeated but unharmed, then released with gifts that would revolutionize his empire's technology. "In 6 weeks, you'll depart for home," Rena said gently. "We hope you'll return as Earth's first official diplomatic contact with the Carvani Empire." 1 year later, Admiral Minho did return, not as a conqueror, but as the first Carvani ambassador to Earth. His reports transformed his empire's understanding of the galaxy, leading to the greatest diplomatic revolution in known history. The hunters had become friends and the prey had become teachers.